How's it, guys? So what I'm gonna do here are traditional cook sisters. They are called Cape Malay. Well, this recipe is very popular with the people in Cape Town, so they call them Cape Malay cook sisters. But there are various ways and methods of making, and they're also known as donuts, cook sisters. But this is what I'm about to do today. I'm going to do their recipe. So what I have here are all the dry ingredients. I have 2.5 tablespoons of aniseed. It's just a basic seed. And then I've also grinded some cardamom pods. I'll have all of this in the description below as well, so you know exactly what to go and look for when you go to the grocery stores. Although I didn't have much, I just grinded the little bit that I had. I had about 4 pods left, and that's what I grinded. It's absolutely, it's entirely up to you. This is all optional. You don't really need to have all these spices, but I am making the Cape Malay version of this recipe, and therefore I want to do it fully. And then I've also got a teaspoon of ground ginger, powdered ginger. And then I've also got 2.5 tablespoons of cinnamon powder. I also just grinded this with my own grinder. Otherwise, you can just go and buy yourself cinnamon powder. It's all up to you. And then what I have here as well is a third of sugar. You can use caster sugar. You could use normal white sugar, brown sugar, any type of sugar you have. It's entirely up to you. And then I've also got 3 cups of cake flour, all-purpose flour. There we go. All right, so in here I have about 310 milliliters of water, lukewarm water, and I'm simply going to add some yeast. This is 10 grams of yeast that I've just added to the water, and I'm just going to stir it together with half of my third of sugar. All right, just a half of that. All right, so make sure that you use half of it, because we're going to use the other half when we add the dry ingredients to the mixture. All right, then you put this mixture aside for about 5 to 6 minutes. This will just help you to, this is just another way or means to see whether the yeast is still very effective, and if it is still in fact, if it hasn't expired or anything of the sorts. So we leave it on the side for about 5 to 6 minutes. So now we would add the dry ingredients, mix the dry ingredients together. So I have 3/4 teaspoons of salt to taste. I'll add the rest of the sugar that I had in the dry mixture, the cinnamon powder as well. We'll go in there, the ginger, the cardamom, and the aniseed. And you just mix all the dry ingredients together. It smells really, really good. It smells organic. So now that the yeast mixture has increased in size, and you can see that there's a distinct difference in, the way it looks. So this is about 10 minutes later. I even forgot about it. So there we go. Start mixing this mixture with your dry ingredients until you have a dough, a sticky dough. a sticky consistency. That's what we're looking for here. And you just keep on adding the mixture up until you have the consistency that you're looking for. I'll just pour in the last bit. Thereafter, now that you have your sticky mixture, I normally then just take a tablespoon of oil. Remember, or note rather, should I say, please note, do not add extra water. Use the water that you measured, the 310 milliliters or 320 mils of water that you mix the yeast with. There's no need for more water. The water that you have, the mixture that you made here, will be more than enough. It will be sufficient for your dry ingredients to make a good dough. So there we go. The mixture's all good. And there we go. And we just pat that a little bit flat. And then you allow this mixture to sit in a warm area. You'll cover it with cling wrap, with foil, or even a towel, a clean towel, and allow the mixture to rise. It should take about 15 to 25 minutes, depending on how warm it is. If there's a bit of sun, you can also sunlight in your kitchen. Place it in that area too. You're more than welcome to do so. So now, because I'm still waiting for the dough mixture to rise, I've decided to prepare all the other things that I'm going to need for this recipe to become a success. So what I have here is 3 cups of white sugar, and then I've got some cinnamon sticks in there as well. If I had any cardamom pods left, I would have thrown in 1 or 2, but like I said, that's all optional. It's not really a requirement. And then I've also got some water here, very hot water. You can either use boiled water or water, and I've just got really hot water from the tap, mixing that in there. And I'm going to switch on let me turn on the stove, and I'll just give it a little stir. So this is the syrup. This mixture is the syrup, and it will become sticky as it starts heating up. Always ensure that you have some water on the side, just to throw in a little bit of dashes of water so that the mixture isn't too sticky, but that at least you can dunk the donut or the cook sister in there from time to time, you know, just dashing some water there. And then I've also got my pan with fresh and clean oil. You want to use clean oil. You don't want to use oil that you've used for food. Use fresh oil. And then I have my desiccated coconut. So that's about 1.5 cups in there for now. But I'm sure I'm going to need some more as I continue, as I go on with. All right. All right. So now that the dough has already risen, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a portion of it, and then I'll put it on the board. In the meantime, my oil is busy heating up because I'm going to begin frying these off. And then you just make them into the little sizes that you want. Just keep some flour close to you. Sprinkle a little bit of flour on that. And remember, this this dough mixture is going to rise, so don't take a big piece. Take a small portion so that when you fry them off, you can have nice small sizes. And then you just use a butter knife, dip it into the flour so that you can cut off the sizes that you want. So I like making these little sizes. I think these are really nice. And that's what you'll do. And then you just start throwing them into the pan. Make sure that your oil is at the right temperature. You don't want your oil to be, don't throw this into the oil when it's not yet warm enough or hot enough. Okay, so I'm going to test to see if the oil is hot enough. I've just thrown in a little piece of dough and it seems perfectly fine. So I'm going to start frying off these babies. I've placed them here on a breadboard and I'll just start putting in. I make sure that the oil is not too hot, even if you decrease. And you fry them until they're golden brown. And then as soon as they are brown and they're golden, I'll just drain the oil on a paper towel, if you have any paper towel. Otherwise, you just let them drip dry. And thereafter, from the syrup straight into the desiccated coconut. And then you'll be done. So I've managed to squeeze 7 in here. I'm just going to play around with them and just make sure that they don't burn. So maybe I should just all right, so now they're golden brown. Make sure that you don't burn them. Keep tossing them around. Look how beautiful they look. And then the syrup is almost done as well. But before you place them in the syrup, remember just to drain them for a minute or two. You don't want to take them straight out of the oil and then into water. You know, oil and water don't mix. Okay. This is a beautiful color. I think that one is ready. And just keep tossing them around, playing with them. And let's not burn them. I think this one is ready to be drained. So is this one. And I'm just placing another one in there. So we don't waste time. This can be quite a lengthy exercise, so I try to, just in order to save some time. Look how pretty. So now that you've fried your donuts or your cook sisters golden brown, look how beautiful they look. I've drained a few, I've placed a few right here next to me, and I've drained them straight out of the oil. You drain them on a paper towel. From the paper towel for about 5 minutes, you then come and you lay them in the syrup. So while these are in the syrup, I'm just going to lay them in there for about 5 minutes or so. Make sure that they soak up the syrup. You can turn them around, play with them in there, just so that they get to soak up that goodness. And once they've soaked up, and I have the stove on. The stove is on medium temperature. You don't want these to be boiling, otherwise it'll make it soggy and it'll begin to break. On medium heat. So you're going to play with these a couple of times. Just keep rolling them around. Let them soak up the syrup. And then once you've done that, you'll place them in the desiccated coconut, and then you're done. How are these doing? Just keep checking on these so that these don't burn. These can burn really fast if you're not watching them. Make sure that these don't burn. I've opted to make them smaller. I'm making these for my mother-in-law. But I'll let my husband get to taste. So yeah. So I just want to show you what I'm going to do with these. I just sprinkle some of the coconut on there. Let's turn these around. Some wax paper, and then I'll just place that here nice and neatly, and then I'll just start packing a few of these babies in here. Hey guys, so remember what I said? I said that I'm taking these to my mother-in-law. Aren't these yummy? So I'm just going to cover them. I usually buy these at a store called Westpac here in South Africa. So if you're in South Africa, you get to buy these. It's like 10 in a pack. Voila. And then you seal. So this is just one other idea that you can have for packaging, for pretty packaging. And then usually when I have a ribbon, I'll just sort of place a ribbon around here and it'll make it all pretty. So I'm taking these to my mother-in-law, and then I've also just prepared a couple for my husband. I'll serve him back with some coffee. So I hope you enjoyed my recipe as much as I did preparing it. I pray that the Lord God blesses the works of your hands and that he blesses the works of our hands. Thank you. Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.